In 1986, two extremely violent men appeared in Miami, Florida. They targeted armored money transport trucks as well as banks, showing no hesitation to use excessive violence in their operations. They would literally open fire for no reason other than enjoyment, carrying out one robbery after another without restraint. Sometimes they even struck twice in one day. Yet they were professionals in every sense of the word, leaving no trace behind. Even FBI investigators were baffled. When their true identities were finally uncovered, the detectives were shocked by details they could never have anticipated. The story begins in Miami, Florida in 1985, when crime rates in the city had risen noticeably. Florida, especially, was already notorious for its troubles and criminal activity. Against this backdrop, two men emerged, employing an extremely violent modus operandi. They never hesitated to shoot anyone who stood in their way. Their first recorded appearance was on October 8, 1985, at an armored money transport truck parked next to a restaurant. Such trucks collect cash from businesses, restaurants among them, and then deposit it at a bank. The vehicles are bullet-resistant and are staffed by a driver and an armed guard. Protocol dictated that the driver remain inside while the guard collected money at each business. But neither man knew that two criminals were lying in wait among the cars parked beside the restaurant. Armed with heavy weapons, one carrying a shotgun, the other a Ruger Mini 14 assault rifle. They wore military-style clothing, black masks, and black gloves. When the guard emerged from the restaurant with the day's takings, they sprang out, ordering him to open the truck's doors. He repeatedly told them he couldn't. Only the driver had the keys. Frustrated, they seized the guard and led him to the driver, demanding he unlock the vehicle. But armored transport companies strictly forbid drivers from opening their trucks under any threat, and he refused. The guard's partner, realizing the robbers were focused on the driver, kicked loose and ran for his life, followed swiftly by the driver in the truck. The two gunmen fired wildly at the armored vehicle, but its armor held. Within moments, they retreated to their white getaway car and sped off. Police and FBI agents arrived, combed the scene, interviewed witnesses, and scoured for any clue, but found nothing. The robbers had left behind no fingerprints, and witnesses could only describe two masked men in military gear. The only lead was the license plate number of the white car, but it turned out to have been stolen a month earlier. According to the guard's testimony, the robbers had deployed military tactics. While one fired, the other covered his back, an approach far beyond ordinary street criminals. They escaped with only the guard's money, $2,800, a paltry sum, making the first attempt a failure. Investigators were certain they would strike again, unwilling to accept defeat. Indeed, just 8 days later, on October 16, 1985, near the scene of the first attempt, they attacked another armored truck parked by a supermarket. As before, the driver waited inside while the guard went inside to collect cash. When the guard returned carrying bags of bills, the robbers, lying in wait, pounced. This time, one climbed through the roof hatch and opened fire immediately, hitting the guard despite his bullet-resistant vest. The driver drew his service weapon and returned fire, engaging in a fierce shootout. Realizing the danger was escalating and the police would soon arrive, the robbers withdrew with only the guard's money, about $2,800 again in round figures, leaving the injured guard to be rushed to the hospital. He later died of his wound, a shotgun slug that nonetheless penetrated his vest at close range. Ballistics linked the spent casings to those recovered at the first scene, confirming the same weapons had been used. FBI agents grew increasingly alarmed. Here were two armed men prepared to kill simply to get their hands on a few $1,000s. They would surely strike again, and likely escalate further. 2 weeks later, on Friday, November 8, 1985, they changed targets, storming the National Bank of Florida. They chose a branch with both a main lobby and a drive-through. When a teller and her armed escort carried cash from the main lobby to the drive-through, the robbers seized the moment. Under threat of their weapons, they ordered the teller to open the drive-through door, but in her panic, she fumbled with the keys until they dropped. Growing more agitated by the second, the robbers abandoned the teller and fled with only the guards' bags, about $10,000, a better haul but still below their ambitions. Police and FBI linked this third incident to the previous two, noting that all had occurred within a single city block. Analysts discerned the pattern. Fridays between 9 a.m. and noon within a 10-kilometer radius, always targeting places unloading cash shipments. Agents intensified patrols and focused on two vehicles of interest: the white sedan from the early robberies and a gray Chevrolet Monte Carlo seen later. Just over an hour after the drive-through heist, the robbers struck again at the savings bank, 4 kilometers away. Ordering everyone to the floor, they looted the newly delivered cash. $41,000 this time, fresh from an armored truck they had trailed, then escaped in the gray Monte Carlo. Once more, no solid leads emerged. Witness statements described two masked men with heavy weapons, but bank security cameras had malfunctioned. FBI experts concluded the pair monitored armored truck routes, then struck wherever fresh cash was unloaded, rather than selecting banks arbitrarily. After that fourth robbery, the case went cold for 2 months. Then, on Friday, January 10, 1986, they reappeared at Barnett Bank. As two guards transferred cash into the bank from their truck, customer William Roberts noticed a suspicious car parked behind the armored vehicle. He saw two masked men rise from the car, guns drawn, and shoot the guard in the back, then fire 2 more shots to make sure he was dead. They piled the cash into their car and fled. Roberts calmly got into his own vehicle and followed them at a safe distance, noting their license plate number and the make of a white pickup they later transferred their loot into. Police and FBI arrived at the bank shortly thereafter. Thanks to Roberts's decisive pursuit, investigators now had the white sedan's plate, which was registered to one Aureliano Braille, and not flagged as stolen. 2 agents went to Braille's home, where they met his wife. Her husband arrived and explained that their 25-year-old son, Emilio, had gone missing 3 months earlier while practicing shooting in the Everglades with the family car, and that they had reported him as a missing person, not as a stolen vehicle case. Agents realized the car had been taken by Emilio, along with whoever abducted or harmed him. The Brailles were victims, not accomplices. Forensic examination of the sedan yielded no usable evidence. The trail went cold again until March 1986, when an FBI agent spotted a newspaper report of an attempted murder on one Jose Collazo, who had been shot multiple times and had his black 1982 Chevrolet Monte Carlo stolen. The agent proposed a link. The same criminals might have struck again. Convinced it was more than coincidence, investigators took the theory seriously and visited Collazo in the hospital. Despite severe wounds, 4 gunshot injuries to vital areas, Collazo feigned death until the attackers left. One hijacked his car and fled. The other drove off in the white pickup. Collazo later managed to stagger to a rural convenience store and summon help, giving a detailed description of the assailants, their car, and their weapons. His account convinced the FBI that these were the same two men. Sketches were made, wanted posters issued, and agents redoubled efforts to recover Collazo's black Monte Carlo. Then, on Wednesday, March 19, 1986, the pair struck a sixth time, bank robbing in the same district and escaping with approximately $50,000. This time, bank cameras functioned but yielded no identifying images beyond two masked gunmen. By analyzing the pattern, Fridays, 9 a.m. to noon, within a 10-kilometer radius of fresh armored truck deliveries, agents deployed 14 detective cars in a tight grid on Friday, April 11, 1986. At 8:30 a.m., two agents driving toward one of the likely targets spotted a black Monte Carlo rolling toward them. License plate NTG891, Collazo's stolen car. They hurriedly radioed the rest of the teams and tailed the vehicle. Realizing they were being followed by multiple federal cars, the robbers made a series of right turns into residential neighborhoods, confirming they were indeed under surveillance as agents patiently kept up, waiting for backup to box them in. Moments later, 3 agent cars corralled the Monte Carlo. One agent, Ben Grogan, flicked on the siren and ordered them over loudspeaker to stop. When they failed to comply, the lead car maneuvered to block the robbers. A second car moved alongside, and a third held the rear, completely surrounding the criminals. Undeterred, the driver accelerated, and the passenger raised his Mini-14 rifle, firing at the nearby agents. The agents opened fire in self-defense. Although outnumbered, the robbers' military-grade firepower, 30-round magazines in their weapons versus the agents' 5- or 6-round service pistols, gave them a temporary edge. In the ensuing gun battle, one of the robbers struck Agent Grogan. Another, named McNeil, wounded the driver's side agent in the neck. Despite being pinned, the robbers fought with astonishing skill, maneuvering between cars under heavy fire. 3 agents had to fall back behind cover to reload. The lead robber closed the gap and gunned down each of them in turn, wounding one in the arm, then executing him, eliminating 2 more with fatal shots. Only 2 agents remained firing from a distance. The surviving robber then attempted to steal an unoccupied FBI car, but injured agent Edmund Morales blocked him. Meanwhile, the other robber, critically wounded in the neck, clambered through the window to flee. Adrenaline gave him strength beyond belief, as Morales kept up a relentless fusillade until both criminals lay dead. Emergency medical teams arrived moments later. 5 agents had sustained serious wounds. 2, Agents Jerry Dove, 30, and Ben Grogan, 53, 1 year shy of retirement, were killed. The lieutenant, Morales, was hailed as a hero, awarded the Federal Medal of Valor, and later chronicled the encounter in a book. The shootout, during which the robbers fired 143 rounds, remains the bloodiest in FBI history. The Bureau subsequently upgraded its agents' weaponry in response. Forensic teams recovered the bodies and fingerprinted them, revealing the robbers to be Michael Platt, 32, the Mini-14 gunman who inflicted most of the casualties, and William Matix, 34, the shotgun shooter. The revelations stunned investigators. These were not career criminals but family men, husbands and fathers who had run a legitimate landscaping business together. They had no prior records, played golf with friends, and led outwardly normal lives. Further inquiries uncovered even darker secrets. Both men had served in the military, Michael as an Army Ranger and had allegedly conspired to murder each other's spouses for insurance payouts. Matix's first wife, Patricia, had been found strangled and mutilated in a hospital lab in Ohio in December 1983. He had collected a $350,000 life insurance policy despite no conclusive evidence of his guilt. Platt's ex-wife, Regina, was discovered with a shotgun to her mouth in December 1984. Police ruled it a suicide, though friends insisted she had no reason to kill herself. Circumstantial evidence suggested the two men may have agreed to eliminate each other's former wives, but no hard proof remained. And so ends our story. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, please